Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Kyren Wilson in Barnsley 7-2. Yes, the Steve Davis Trophy is what they're playing for, although in a late twist, it's going to be presented by Jimmy White, one of Steve's old rivals. Looks like it's going to Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's 7-2 up to Kyren Wilson. The frightening thing is you just kind of expected him to knock that in. Off the Wilson break-off. Long pot success for O'Sullivan, 86% in this match.
Eight. Nine.
I wonder if Liang Wenbo is watching. Good friend of Ronnie O'Sullivan's. He was here with him actually yesterday. Of course, he made a maximum break earlier in the tournament, for which he's down at the moment to win £42,000, unless someone equals it.
16.
Well, maybe. I think right now, while he'd probably like to make a 1+7, or we think he would, with Ronnie, you never quite know. Getting to within the frame and getting the job done tonight would mean a lot to him. He's had a lot of assistance all week. Dr. Stephen Peters has been here. He wants to get over the line in this tournament, I think, more than anything else. He needs to be seen as a threat, I think, as a player. It's been a bit of a drought for him.
24.
Don't know if he can hold for the black here. I think he'll be playing up to something lower in value if he plays that red.
Just been told actually that apparently Liang Wenbo is in our studio watching with Jimmy, so he's keeping a close eye on this.
I think he's going to be all right here. I think he'll respect the situation more, and I think that he's playing on lower value colour with the angle he's got, which is quite a wide one.
Yeah, your money's safe.
$28. 29. $36.
There's the pot success, 97%.
Yes, and that was quite a difficult one. That the previous shot on the black was not perfectly judged for once. So we'll play another recovery shot here, though, from blue. To obviously avoiding the bulk colours down for a red. Not straightforward here. He's getting close to the yellow. That's a lovely shot. He just missed the yellow and the jaws of the middle bag. Or the corner pocket, rather.
42.
Colin Humphries there, respotting the blue. He always, when he sets the table up before every frame, he always starts with the blue because he's a massive Everton fan and he reckons it's good luck, although I think he means for him rather than them because they got beat 5-2 today. Not a good day for the Merseyside teams.
43. $47. 48.
Well, he's just got a choice of reds here to either corner pocket with that nice angle.
$53. 54.
Well, he's got options once again. The right-hand red might make others available, but he could just nudge into them as well. Yes, he's played on the loose one. I think that's a good choice because he doesn't need very many more pots. And it's another
59.
very fine positional play shot. He still needs another red after this. I think in potting that red, the top one is
60.
available to the right corner. So everything unfolding beautifully. Yes, it certainly goes.
$65.
Well, it's the red he needs. He doesn't want to overthink this.
$66.
Well, what are you supposed to do? He broke off.
$73.
He's playing some
74.
terrific snooker. He really is.
Yes, everything is opened up. When he came to the table, it looked like he could make quite a few, but the reds were still in a
81.
bunch. And one by one, he's got them into play. He's
82.
an artist at work. Break building and shot selection has always been the very highest order.
89.
Chance then to make his third century of the final. Could have had quite a few more, actually.
90. $95. 96.
Career century 893 coming up. Well, it might not be the close final many wanted, but sometimes you just have to sit back and admire.
102.
And there's been plenty to admire from Ronnie O'Sullivan today.
105.
Yes, it's been a question for a long time of everyone knows what he can do. Everyone's seen it before. We haven't seen it all that much recently. Can O'Sullivan still play to the highest of
109.
levels? And he's answered that tonight. He's answered it all week, but this really is the icing on the cake. He's still a great player.
114.
What if Barry Hearn is getting twitchy for the £1 million bonus? Maybe a bit early yet. Of course, if anyone wins all four, they get the £1,000,000. How many could realistically do that? Not many, but Ronnie
120.
O'Sullivan would be in that group. He's one frame away from winning the English Open. He made a magnificent total clearance of 127. And he's 8-2 up, playing sublime snooker. One more frame, and he's our champion.
Thank you, frame 11.
So that
Ronnie
trophy
O'Sullivan to break.
will be Ronnie O'Sullivan's 29th in a world ranking event, 24 years after his first, if he wins this frame. If he doesn't win the tournament, then we're going to see the biggest and most incredible comeback ever, I think.
Well, he's been knocking those in all week, but a barrage of breaks is quite difficult. The pockets seem smaller, don't they?
One.
Well, here we go again, maybe. He's already won 5 frames in this final in which Karen Wilson has not potted a ball.
Give me a second, please, Ronnie.
Colin Humphries just slotting the pink into position behind the pack.
Interesting stat, actually, Dave, in the semi-finals and finals. Only 1 frame of all 3 matches to date where there's not been a break over 50. So the standard's very high, and that goes back to
7.
frame in the match with O'Sullivan and McGill, the frame where Ronnie missed those 2 blacks off the spot. 6th frame.
8.
Table's been playing well, but the standard has been extremely high.
I think it's been a terrific tournament, and one of the things about the Home Nations events, you get to see so many faces you might not normally see in tournaments.
13. 14.
Very busy period of the calendar coming up, a lot of tournaments, and if O'Sullivan can get on a run, who's to say what sort of damage he can do in this part of the season.
Just flicked the red away from the black there to give himself more to play with.
21. 22. 29. 30. 37. 38. 43.
I think it's to get a little bit more difficult now, if that's possible. That's where he'll have to think through what he does next.
44.
He's a bit straight on the blue, doesn't leave all that many options. I better just run through into the bunch, a real queuing shot. It's a beautiful effort. It's just an absolute joy to watch, isn't it? And that's such a difficult shot to make the red spread. But the top spin he had on the ball, the cue ball just
49.
accelerated. They're all coming out tonight, Dave, aren't they, all these shots?
Well, if you programmed a computer to play snooker, this is how it would play if you programmed it correctly. Pretty much unplayable.
Yes, Yes, he's actually got awkward cueing, despite a brilliant shot like that. He recovered it very well. You never know what's going to happen next, but it appears that he's on this surge of form.
Give me a second, please, Ronnie.
It seemed enormous to him.
I wonder if John Higgins did him a slight favour by winning that tournament in India, just to move ahead of him on the all-time list. I think as O'Sullivan, as his career doesn't come towards an end, because clearly it's nowhere near the end, but as he's on sort of the back nine, as it were, he is noticing
56.
records more and more and focusing on maybe his place in the game, in the game's history.
57.
Now, his place in the game history is right up there. There'll always be the debate as to the greatest of all time, and people will always say O'Sullivan or Hendry, or even
64.
man of the trophies named after Steve Davis. But
65.
when it comes to Stephen Hendry, wonderful as he wasn't even a professional at the age that Ronnie is now. He'd retired from competitive play.
So snooker's required. There's never been anyone as good as this. Don't care what anyone says.
Well, I'm with you on that.
73.
Well, it'd be just like him to finish with another century, wouldn't it? Be a proud moment for him to join Higgins on 29 ranking events, going past his boyhood hero Steve Davis to collect the Steve Davis trophy. He was in a bit of hibernation earlier in the season while everyone else was playing. He wasn't playing in tournaments, but
87.
he's back and, well, is as good as ever.
88.
Yes, these Home Nations events last year proved very difficult to win, difficult to predict who'd win. Had the tournament favourite winning it.
94.
Mark Selby was high in the list of
95.
betting from the sponsors, but the fact is, despite it being 7 matches and best of 7s for a few days, the class of O'Sullivan has come through all of that, and he's come from a difficult draw, and right now, at this moment in time, he looks to be playing snooker in a league of his own.
Thank you.
Yes, 4th century of the final to win the championship. Corin Wilson had one of his own, but what are you supposed to do against an O'Sullivan in this sort of form?
Final thing I'll say, Dave, pot success in a final.
105.
98% pot success in a best of 17 frame final.
107.
That stat alone is all you need to know.
Yeah, quite incredible.
He's missed 6 pots all day.
110.
Well, he's got it all, hasn't he? He's got the skill, he's got the nerve,
114.
he's got the self-confidence, he's got the charisma. He's a star that any sport would want involved in
119.
any of its events. And in snooker, he's got every shot in the book, and we've seen them today.
125. Thank you.
We've seen them again in this winning break. 132 to finish. Snooker players come and snooker players go, but there's only one, Ronnie O'Sullivan, and here's our champion in Barnsley. And even by his high standards, that was an incredible performance. 4 centuries, a string of other big breaks. He wins the first leg of the Home Nation Series, the English Open, beating Corin Wilson by 9 frames to 2.
Ladies and gents, let's have a round of applause for both players after a wonderful final. Corin Wilson and Ronnie O'Sullivan. I don't really know what to say to you. I suppose if you can take anything from it, it's sort of irrelevant who is sat in that seat this afternoon, this evening. He was just brilliant.
Yeah, he was. I'm just so frustrated at myself, to be honest. I kept catching my safeties too thick, and as soon as you leave one poking out for Ronnie, he's just going to knock it in and clear up. And, you know, it's fine margins. You can't be too hard on yourself. But, yeah, he was class all throughout today.
Was one big turning point in frame 3 when you went in off the pink and then you left the black over the hole?
Yeah, you know, it didn't feel like it at the time because it's still only, I think it was for 2-1. But, you know, in hindsight, looking back, it was obviously a very big frame. But, you know, it's, again, fine margins. The black nearly crept in. Who knows?
What can you take from this? You have, after all, got to the final of a major ranking event.
I just keep getting battered in finals. I just, you know, it's just how hard it is nowadays. You come up against the big boys in the finals. It's where I want to be. It's what I've practiced very hard for. I just want to get past 3 frames, to be honest.
Well, listen, I'm sure we'll see you in many finals, of course, in the future. Sadly, it wasn't your day, but thank you so much. A round of applause for our runner-up. You've had worse days, haven't you?
Not many, no, that was probably as good, well, I say as good as I could play amongst the balls. You know, I made some really good breaks, and out of all the breaks I made, I think probably one of the best ones, the most important one was at 6-2, you know. Red on the cushion, got it out, put it over the middle, so, you know, I was really crafting breaks, you know, today, and I felt good amongst the balls, and, you know, there's still a little bit of room for improvement on certain shots, and so, you know, I'm just going to keep driving myself on to try and get to a high level. But, you know, I just want to congratulate Kyron on another great tournament. It's his second final this season. He will be, in my mind, you know, a top player for the next 20 years, undoubtedly be a world champion. And, you know, so, you know, he's the man of the future, man for the present and the future. And I'm just enjoying sort of trying to hold on to him, you know. Because I was hanging on in that early, like Kyron says, you know, them first 4 frames, they could have gone differently, but I was just hanging on there. And, you know, I just had to stay focused and just try and just, you know, allow myself to play.
You did play fantastic from start to finish. In the whole afternoon and evening session combined, you missed just 6 balls you went for, which is an astounding pot success. I think 98%. You knocked in 4 tons. It could have been 5 or 6. How do you rate that performance, Ronnie?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it was very, very good, you know, and it had to be very, very good. You know, you don't play that well unless you feel like you have to. You know, if I'd have been playing one of the bottom-ranked players, I might have, you know, got out the blocks a bit slow. But because I knew I was playing Kyron, I knew I had to be on my game for the world go. Otherwise, it could have been, you know, easy. The score could have been the other way around. But that's what keeps you on your toes. That's what keeps you training hard. It's what keeps you eating healthy. It keeps you, you know, just trying to sort of keep younger.
And listen, I know, of course, you won the Masters. Your last ranking event was last year, February, the Welsh Open. This is number 29, so it puts you, of course, level with John Higgins now, 1 ahead of Steve Davis and catching up Stephen Hendry. What's it like to win another ranking event?
It's just great to win another ranking event. But obviously, I just want to thank, you know, Eurosport and Discovery. They've supported me fantastic for the last 2 or 3 years. My sponsor, Bet Chris, have been, like, amazing. Rigor as well, you know. These are the people that have supported me. Steve Peters and my mate there, John from Liverpool, cooking all my dinners for me, making me strong, you know. And so there's a lot of people to thank. And, you know, because otherwise, without a team around you that support you, it wouldn't be as much fun, and it probably wouldn't be possible.
And finally, I have to ask, how is the foot now?
No, the foot's all right, you know. I think the trainers need to take some credit, don't they?
What trainers would they be, Ronnie?
Saucony.
Oh, OK. And finally, no Nan running around the table to pot the last black at the end. Always a bit of a disappointment, that.
I told her she's got to stay at home.
Oh, right, OK. Listen, well done. Congratulations. Your new English Open champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Ladies and gents, please welcome your presentation party from the WPBSA, Martin Clark, and the ambassador of Dapperbert, the whirlwind of London, Jimmy White! Firstly, a cheque for £30,000 goes to your runner-up. Please show your appreciation for Kyron Wilson! Cheque for £70,000, the Steve Davis Trophy, and the title of English Open Champion 2017 goes to the Rocket,
So Ronnie O'Sullivan's 29th world ranking title. Equal with John Higgins, now second on the all-time list. Stephen Hendry, of course, retired on 36. But on this sort of form, if he produces this sort of snooker with all the tournaments to come, who's to say he can't get there in a couple of years' time? And I think it will mean something to him that it's named in honour of Steve Davis, as I say, his boyhood idol. He's got another idol there, Jimmy White, presenting him with the prize.
Ladies and
now
gentlemen,
the
because
pictures
it's finished so quickly, there will be
with
an
Martin
exhibition
Clark
in
as well, a
15
former
minutes
player,
time
now tournament
featuring
director
Jimmy White
here
and Liang Wenbo.
with
15
World
minutes
Snooker.
time.
Liang Wenbo looked pretty happy as well, not just for his powerful winning, but of course the maximum prize, £42,000, will be going to him. But Ronnie O'Sullivan, 70,000 as the winner, and also, of course, leg one of 4 for the £1 million bonus. Here's his friends, Jason Francis, his manager, and various friends coming in for pictures as well. He played great all week, he really has. Of course, he had that tough match with John Higgins in the last 16, 4-3, and yesterday against Anthony McGill, he really pushed him hard, but he's finished with 12 centuries. Incredible number of centuries for a tournament where most of the matches were best of 7. And just in the final was sensational in the end. 5 centuries, just brilliant snooker. And unplayable, really. Karen Wilson, as I say, himself play well, but what are you supposed to do? Leave one ball on, and O'Sullivan takes full advantage. That's what he did. He will move on. They'll have a week off now. He'll move on to Daqing in China for the International Championship. That's our next snooker on Eurosport in a week's time. And then plenty of tournaments after that. The Champion of Champions, the Shanghai Masters, and then, of course, leg 2 of the Home Nation Series, the Northern Ireland Open in Belfast. That starts on the 20th of November, and then straight to the UK Championship. So a lot of snooker to come heading into Christmas. But there's a picture we've seen many times before. Ronnie O'Sullivan holding a trophy. And this one, as I say, quite special, bearing the name of Steve Davis. I think from Karen Wilson's point of view, we could see he was disappointed, and I think that's a good thing, really, for him. Even though he's been outplayed, he knows the level he's got to get to. But as Ronnie himself said, there's time on Karen Wilson's hand. He's time on his side, as I say. He's only 25. Even this man can't play forever, although you watch him play like that and you wonder, well, how long can he go on for? This is a man, after all, who many times has threatened to retire. He did go away for most of one season before coming back to win the World Championship. Just an incredible figure in any sport, as I say. Any sport would love to have him. He creates headlines, he creates interest, he brings in the crowds. And more importantly than anything, he plays his chosen sport to an incredibly high level. And he's been in a very good mood all week, which I think also helps. He said Dr. Steve Peters was with him, just keeping him in the right frame of mind to go out there and play the matches. Managed to swerve his Eurosport punditry duties, but I'm sure had he got knocked out, he would have been in the studio. He enjoys that side of it as well. And now he's just going around the arena so that the fans paid their money to come and see him can get their pictures, a few handshakes as well. A memorable evening. Okay, it wasn't as long as many people maybe thought or hoped it would be, but they've seen something special today. It was almost like watching an exhibition at times, just the way he played, as if he wasn't under any pressure at all. But a superb performance from Ronnie O'Sullivan. It was great to be here to watch it, and who's to say how many more tournaments he'll win this season. Ronnie O'Sullivan, our champion, as we go back to the studio, and Andy Goldstein.